Despite me being such a big collector of FNAF merch, my favorite toy company of all time has actually never dabbled in the series. And I'm talking about none other than Jakks Pacific. Their biggest claim to fame is their famous World of Nintendo toy line, but nowadays you'll hear about them more often for their Sonic stuff. Or if you're in the mascot horror space, you've probably heard about them for their fantastic Bendy figures. It seems no matter which way you slice it, Jakks Pacific is a very well-respected and liked toy company. And they basically solidified the gold standard for video game toy lines. And in this video, I'm going to explain why Jakks Pacific is my #1 pick for the company who should be making the Five Nights at Freddy's action figures. Now, I do want to mention before we get into this that this is not anything related to the Jazzwares FNAF toy line that was just announced. I think it's way too early to judge those truly, since all we've seen are prototypes, and as you know, Jakks Pacific isn't too good with prototypes either, so I'm very excited for this toy line. I think it's being worked on by all the right people, and I think it's going to turn out pretty good. I'm optimistic for that toy line. I actually had this video idea before that toy line was even announced, but this is purely just a hypothetical for if my favorite toy company made FNAF stuff. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Raycon. Raycon is a top quality brand who makes premium wireless earbuds at a fraction of the cost of other brands. With features such as a 32-hour battery life, which is more than enough to last you a full shift at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. An exquisite ergonomic design that can fit perfectly into anybody's ears with ease, plus optimized gel tips for a cozy custom fit. Noise isolation so you can really focus in on that epic FNAF 4 gameplay. Raycon earbuds are available in a variety of colors, so pick whichever suits you best. They even have silicone cases which also come in a variety of colors and patterns. I chose the dreamy cloud style because it reminds me of the tie-dye Bonnie plush. I've been using mine for a bit and they're absolutely perfect so far, no notes. The different features are convenient and the audio quality is great. And just the overall quality of this is excellent. I often forget how nice wearing headphones or earbuds is for helping me focus while I edit, but these help remind me of that. I've actually been using them to edit the entire section of the video here, so they've never failed me. So click the link in the description or pinned comment, or go to buyraycon.com/mrsprings to get 20% off your order of Raycon earbuds. That's buyraycon.com/mrsprings. Thank you to Raycon for supporting the channel, and let's get back to the video. And I want to get straight into this, so let's start off with point number 1, pricing. I'd argue Jakks Pacific has some of the most fair pricing in the entire toy industry. Like, sometimes I'll buy a Jakks figure and feel like I'm ripping them off. Like, a fully articulated Bendy figure with a display base and an accessory and a fully detailed paint job will only run you $14.99. It doesn't feel quite on par with your average, like, $25 figure. Like, it's not a Marvel Legends, for example, but still, it's very high quality for the price, and for what you're paying, you're getting more than you probably should. I'd love to have some more premium FNAF figures also, obviously, but, you know, I'd prefer for the main FNAF toy line to be relatively affordable, and Jakks Pacific is always good at that. And to be completely fair, the Jazzwares line is also going to be focusing on low prices, which is also good. If you couldn't tell, I'm mentioning the Jazzwares stuff a lot in this video because my video getting my thoughts on those got taken down by a certain person, who I shall not name, but I'm going to fade in a picture of them on screen right now. The pictures I used earlier were from Aaron from Jazzwares. They were not from you, Puppet Steve.
I was not expecting that. But I was expecting not to expect something, so it doesn't...
I'm so glad I mentioned all that in the video, but yeah, that whole situation is resolved for the most part, on my end at least, so yeah, we're all good. Anyway, so back to glazing multi-million-dollar company. On top of pricing, Jakks just makes very durable, high-quality figures. As somebody who grew up with a lot of their Mario figures, it's genuinely so cool how durable and high quality they are. They also clearly serve a dual purpose of being for collectors and also being for kids to play with, and I think they serve both purposes perfectly. They use a very strong, durable plastic that seems to hold up very well over the years. I mean, I used to play with my Fire Mario figure on the playground, but he's still holding up fine. They have pretty consistent paint jobs and can even get very detailed at times. Like, look at this Mephiles figure. They did airbrushing on his quills. They did not have to do that. Also, from my experience, Jakks Pacific has pretty strong joints and well-designed figures. The only figures they've made that I really think are kind of poorly designed are their Sonic the Hedgehog 2 figures, which have pretty weak elbow joints. But that was fully corrected with their Sonic 3 line. And you can make the argument that Mario characters are very simplistic, so they're not a good example as to why they should make FNAF characters, but I'd argue Sonic and Bendy have a lot of designs that are pretty comparable. Which leads me to the next point, sculpts. Jakks Pacific is always damn near perfect when it comes to sculpting characters. Nearly every Jakks figure looks like it was directly taken from the in-game model right into real life, and it looks so good. And like, for $10 you can't beat this. Now I do want to emphasize the biggest downside to a Jakks Pacific toy line is that their distribution is inconsistent to say the least, primarily for their Super Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog toy lines. They tend to do them in a structure where they'll release a wave of figures that has a couple re-releases of previous figures, and also a couple new ones. But the way they set up their cases they send to stores are stupid as hell. Basically, you get a case of Jakks figures of Sonic, for example. There's a couple new characters, and then Sonic himself. They will send the store, like, 10 Sonics and, like, one of everybody else, and it is the most annoying thing ever. They re-released this same damn Sonic figure so many times, and that's not a problem. Sonic should be easy to get for the toy line, but it's like, do you need this many of him? I go into Walmart and this is the only one I can find ever. Like, the figures are still affordable, but that's if you can find them. This is my most consistent issue with Jakks Pacific, and they have yet to really address it in any meaningful way. It's just a matter of getting lucky enough to get to the store before they sell out, or finding the Amazon listing within like 2-second period before it sells out. It's more of an issue for Sonic figures than it is for Mario figures, because Sonic is much more popular with eBay scalpers. But, to be completely fair, if they did a Five Nights at Freddy's line, I think it would be more comparable to their Bendy line. And their Bendy line, when characters are hard to find, it's because the character is popular. Not because the actual figures aren't accessible, because they're very accessible. Now, you could make the argument that Bendy isn't as popular as FNAF, so its figures probably won't sell out nearly as quickly, but I am pretty confident that if Jakks made a FNAF line, it would be pretty similar to how their Bendy line is consistently stocked. And speaking of which, it would probably come in similar packaging, so I'm going to use this excuse to show off this artwork I made for the thumbnail. Now, this is way more of a packaging mock-up more than anything. I wanted some visual thing to put in the thumbnail, and this is the best thing I could come up with. I figured out, like, you know, what the Bendy boxes looked like, so then I kind of translated that into a FNAF design, and I'm pretty happy with how this looks. That's not an actual, like, figure thing in there, that I just retextured a Freddy model. And kind of the last point I wanted to touch on with Jakks is that their release format fits really, really well into Five Nights at Freddy's, with the fact that they tend to have a rule where every single wave has to have a variant of the title character. Every single Mario wave they make has a Mario in it, every single Sonic wave they make has a Sonic in it, every Bendy wave has a Bendy in it. They'll never exclude the main character. And Five Nights at Freddy's is a franchise where character variants are literally the entire cast mainly. There are infinite Freddy Fazbear variants that they could release in every single wave, along with variants for other characters, that I don't think they would ever run out of steam for this toy line. I think Jakks' release format just lends itself really, really well, because, you know, there's only so many things you can do with Sonic the Hedgehog, just like regular old Sonic. There's infinite things you could turn Freddy into. And I think that alone would be a very big reason why Jakks Pacific would be a good fit, because their release format just kind of makes sense for FNAF. You know, re-release some popular characters in every wave, and then you make some new variants of the main character, you add a new character in, you just release a couple times throughout the year, rather than releasing, like, say, like 1 or 2 big waves, they release a bunch of smaller waves throughout the year. I like that release format. It's very different from other companies, and it makes collecting a bit more exciting. Like, I'll be honest, like, every time a new Jakks Sonic figure gets revealed, I am a bit, like, taken aback immediately, just because it's like, whoa, where the hell did that guy come from? But anyway, let's get back into some classic merch review content. I want to open some Jakks Pacific products and talk about some stuff in person that I really like, so I'm going to do that for the rest of the video. I want to do more stuff in this format, so like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to like suggest any companies I should do videos like this on, please let me know, because I really want to continue this series if this does well, because I'd love to talk about just like how other companies would handle the FNAF license. I think it's such an interesting topic. And it also gives me a good excuse to show off a lot of the other cool toys I have. So anyway, let's get into merch reviewing stuff.
Slinky and Turtle have a very important message for you guys. That there is going to be brand new merchandise.
Jakks Pacific. This is my first ever Jakks Pacific figure. This is their original Fire Mario. I believe this is from their second wave of World of Nintendo figures, and this was so cool to have as a kid. Like, this is a big reason why Jakks is such a special company to me, just because there was such a point in time where you could not find an easily accessible Mario action figure, or just any Nintendo character, really. So, them making all of these super accessible, easy to find, articulated, like, Nintendo figures, this meant a lot to me. And this was the first Mario figure I ever really owned. I did own ones before this, but they weren't posable, and I kind of thought they were crappy. This guy, I loved this guy. I took this guy everywhere with me. This is an awesome figure. So we can just set this guy over here. The whole reason I'm doing this segment is because I want to do a review here in this video on some of the most recent Jakks Pacific figures, because I think it would be productive in, you know, gauging my thoughts. Because, you know, their most recent set of figures, I think that's a fair point of reference. So, this is their most recent set of Bendy action figures. Now, these are much more simplistic than their usual sets. Obviously, these are the most simple action figures they've made for Bendy. This is Series 3, and they're not doing them based on the game models. These are based on the cartoons. Also, again, Jakks is so good at packaging. Like, I prefer when Jakks does these boxes rather than the bubble cards. I'm always a box person. I will always take a box over a bubble card, but, like, this is so good. You know, I got the big window for the figure, got some artwork, you know, got nice stuff on the back, tells you what everything is. There's the rest of the set on there at the bottom. Got some more artwork on the side, got a picture of the figure, portrait, logo, and got a little ink splatters. This is just, like, it's simple, but it's perfect, and it's effective. Another little detail inside the box, Joey Drew Studios logo, right there. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, here we got Bendy. So he comes with this giant projector thing. Really gimmicky accessory, I presume. But, you know, I'm kind of just, you know, I prefer a base. That's my biggest complaint with this wave, honestly, from what I've seen. I wish these came with bases, like all the other figures. Every other Bendy figure comes with a display base. These ones come with these big, goofy projector things, which I don't know how I feel about it. Alright, let's look here. So, new Bendy figure. He comes with a rocking horse accessory, which is interesting. I'm not exactly sure what this is referencing. I feel like one of the little cartoon things in Chapter 5 probably displayed him on a rocking horse, but I don't quite remember. I used this little thingy here, and it doesn't work on camera. It doesn't really function very well through the camera, so it's kind of hard for me to show it, but, you can kind of see it well there, actually. You see it just plays little frames. Not as cool as a display base. Really gimmicky. Also, don't know why it's in a different art style. I guess the idea is that you'd put this in front of Bendy here, and then you'd put Bendy here, and it's like it's projecting him. I don't know. Now, I think this little guy here is very impressive. He's nothing too, like, insane. Obviously, he's not as impressive as the previous Jakks figures, but for what he is, I mean, look at this guy. He's pretty cool. I like his paint job. He looks pretty cool. No real paint mistakes I can see, actually. I think he's pretty spotless. And Jakks is giving you a lot more for the same price before, so 15 bucks? I still think this is worth the 15 bucks, but, like, Jakks has higher standards than this, and I'm still satisfied, because that's the thing with a Jakks figure. You can't really be disappointed because of how cheap they are. And they don't really show that with their quality. They don't feel cheap. Like, look at this guy. He's a little Bendy. He's perfect. Now, I don't think I'm going to bother opening old Hula Bendy here, because it's just the same thing, but with a skirt on, so I don't really see any point to that, but now, believe it or not, but in the years and years it's been since in the years and years it's been since Bendy has released Chapter 3, there's never been a cartoon Alice Angel action figure. They've only ever made the scary version, so I don't really know why. I don't know why it's taken this long to get a proper Alice Angel figure, but hey, better late than never. And yeah, this meets the expectations, you know? She's well proportioned, she looks about how she does in the cartoon. She doesn't scale perfectly with Bendy though, that's something I will say, but that's kind of expected when, obviously they don't want to make Bendy, they want to sell Bendy for the same price as all the other figures so they can have the same spot on the store system. So, I get that. I get why they would want to just, you know, give them all the same price point, all the same size and stuff, and I don't want Bendy to be too small, but yeah. I don't know if she's small or he's big. You be the judge of that. But there's some scaling going on here. It's a bit weird because Bendy in the cartoons, I think he's like up to here on Alice. Like she's pretty tall. So yeah, I don't know. But her articulation's good. She's got knee bends. Obviously, you don't get much leg movement in general, just because of her dress, the way it's shaped. They probably could have worked around that a little bit, but it's kind of hard with a character whose dress is completely shaped like this and it just kind of wraps around the legs. So it's really hard to get much mobility out of that. But, you know, her arms articulate about the same as Bendy's. They got the little wrist swivel here. One thing I do notice that they have this little exposed, like, joint on the wrists, which is colored black instead of white. Because there's not supposed to be a black spot there on the glove. Same with Bendy there. Like, that's not supposed to be there. But, I don't know. Her face sculpt is good. Maybe her cheeks are a little big. I don't remember them quite looking like that. I guess it does. Actually... No, looking at it from this angle, it looks normal. Okay, so I'm both happy and not happy with this base, because one, I'm happy they included it, because they still include the giant projector thing with Alice, but they did kind of, this base is teeny tiny, like it's so tiny, and you kind of have to finick with it a bit to get her to stand. She can stand, but it is a bit difficult, and she does come with her microphone, something awesome. First Alice Angel microphone accessory. I mean, not that there's much competition because there's the Fat Mojo one before, but this one actually has a little spinning thing and it's actually painted, so that's pretty cool. Okay, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, see, look, that's a good pose. She looks nice. I like how this figure looks. I'm just not too big a fan of like the articulation and everything, and it doesn't stand too well. If this came with a full-size base, that would not be an issue. Now we got the long-awaited Jakks Pacific Boris figure. They did make a Tom figure previously, but that's Tom. Come on, we want Boris. Now, I do hope we do get an Ink World Boris, because this is obviously cartoon Boris. I want the version from the Ink World so he lines up with the other figures nicer, but still, first Jakks Pacific Boris, let's see how he stands up. Alright, so to complete the iconic trio, we've got Boris here, and I can already tell this is my favorite figure from the wave. He articulates the nicest. He's got a nice swivel here, and it doesn't really obstruct his whole, like, overall thing. I guess it would be nice if the buttons moved with it, too. Would have been nice if they moved this down a little bit, but still. Got a nice little swivel going on here. Very similar to other figures in the line. He's got some leg Oh. That's not that bad. Okay. So, his legs do pop in and out, but he does have a pretty decent motion of leg articulation. His knees don't seem to want to move. Hold on. Oh, his knees are on, like, ratchets, I guess. Okay. Very ratchet joining knees, although this one doesn't seem to want to move. I see a little loose bit of plastic. I wonder if there was a molding issue or something. Man. These were not good figures to use as an example for this video. I like him, but man, that is disappointing. Why won't his one leg move? I don't know. I think this is probably the worst of Jakks Pacific quality control, honestly, because I've never seen this wave, honestly. I'm really disappointed with the quality, because compared to the other figures in the line, these don't really stack up too well. I'm gonna be honest. I still think he looks nice. That's a nice looking Boris. Look at him. He's a nice guy. These look the part. Just the articulation on these is not good. Like, I got this Mario figure from, like, what year is this? Let me check. This was from 2015. This Mario figure from 2015. Its joints are perfectly fine. They've always been like this. They're still like this. I can go do it right now, huh? Here's a brand new Jakks Pacific Fire Mario from 2025. Old version. Let's compare. Let's get this guy open. Whoa, the Fire Mario, get out of here. Get out of here, come on. Is he zip tied in? I don't know. Okay, he's not. Okay, let's just get this guy out. Speed run. Alright, around the same price range. This Fire Mario was 13 bucks. This is 15 bucks. $2 price difference. Pretty comparable, I'd say. So here we got the original Fire Mario, and you can see he's got a little pokey things sticking out. When he moves his arms a little bit, you know, his knees. He's got these pointy things on his knees that stick out. His neck can't really move because his head's too close to it. His leg articulation's not all too great, you know. This Mario, he's a little scuffed. Now, let's look at a Jakks Pacific Mario from this year, though. Because, you know, some people are going to say, hey, this isn't a good comparison. This guy's old as hell. Well, here's one that's brand new. Okay, you can see, even better articulation than the old one. Buttery smooth, full wrist articulation that moves perfectly. Oh my gosh, he's got a dynamic hand pose. That's something that these have, though. To be fair, these Bendy figures do that too, but yeah. His legs move much better. Look how smooth that knee joint is. And he's even got foot articulation. Dude. Like, okay, let me just compare this, actually. I just need to compare this. Hold on. Look at the knee bend on these Marios, just like side by side. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna be honest, I've kind of just wanted to compare these Fire Marios for a while, and I need to do this in a video, so yeah. But this is a good 2025 Jakks figure reference. Look how nice this guy is. This is a good Mario. And also, I didn't even mention, his neck can turn. Oh my gosh, a Mario figure where his neck can go all the way around as many times as you want. It can even do a little tilt to the side if you need to. And he's got a nice little angry expression. This guy, this guy's neck does not turn that far. It just won't. Okay, anyway, back to Boris. I like his little mouth here. That's funny. I like the sculpts on these. Jakks is always good with sculpts. That's a point I made earlier, but like, yeah. Jakks literally has never missed with a sculpt. I don't think most of their sculpts look perfect, I think. Like, even back then, I think this Mario sculpt still holds up. They just have not lost it at all, and I'm very happy with that. Like, Jakks Pacific, that's always been their strong suit. They make really, really good sculpts, and you know, their figures are also pretty decent quality for the price you pay for them. So yeah, we got a little Boris here. Definitely the worst of the Bendy waves. I'll probably have footage in this video showing how good the other ones are, but still, yeah, this guy, he's not quite up to snuff. Although he does come with a picnic basket, which kind of makes up for everything. I suppose I should look at some other Jakks figures in person, since I realized I forgot to record that earlier, but like, yeah, you see this Bendy figure? He articulates so perfectly fine. Again, his knees are actually the same stiffness as the Boris. I guess I never even realized that. These Bendy figures have a stiff knee problem, I guess, but it's not really a problem on a figure where his knees are this tiny. It is a problem on Boris, though. But yeah, just look at the paint on this thing. This thing's awesome. If we could get FNAF figures in this quality, this would be amazing. We could check out, like, the Ink Demon. He doesn't have stiff knee syndrome. His knees articulate fine. His arms articulate fine. They go all the way up. They go all the way down. His neck moves. He has a separate joint for his neck and the top of his neck. I talked about this figure in a video before. This figure, I cannot praise this Ink Demon enough. And he's so expensive now, but if you do find one, get him. Worth it. So worth it. Oh my goodness. He's so good. Perfect figure. And then we got some newer ones. I guess one's from Wave 2. We got Sammy here. He's about on par with Wave 1, I'd say. He's pretty cool. Yeah, you wave him. You see, yeah. The only thing with him is that articulation, again, isn't the best, but you know, I'd sacrifice articulation for a better sculpt any day. And that's kind of Jakks' whole motto. But even then, they've been making some major innovations in the action figure industry, I think. And that's what I'm going to talk about now. Because what I'm going to talk about now is the entire reason I thought about this again. Because it wasn't the Bendy figures that made me want to make this video again. It was the figures for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, I actually had this video idea years ago. Probably mentioned that already, but I had this video idea years ago, and I hadn't really thought about it again until Jakks Pacific released what I believe to be my favorite toy line that they've ever released. And that is their Sonic the Hedgehog 3 toy line. Now, this line is genuinely one of the coolest things that I've seen come out of the toy industry in such a long time, because you get these amazingly detailed, fully articulated, like, detailed sculpt Sonic figures based on the brand new movie, released right around when the movie came out, and these are only $14.99. I left the price tag on this one. That is a good price for the kind of figures these are. Because, like, this is just solidifies to me, Jakks Pacific is a very impressive company when it comes to pricing. Because, let's look at Shadow here, okay? Fully articulated, you can move his feet like that. He has knees joint. He has double jointed thighs. He has his butterfly joints on his shoulders. He has finger articulation. Like, he has a full ball joint head. Like, the paint also is very good. Like, I don't see really any paint mistakes or anything on my Shadow. Like, for $15, you're getting a damn high quality figure. And granted, he doesn't come with any accessories, but $15. You also got Knuckles here, who is just as good, if not better, actually. And he's also substantially bigger, even though he's the same price. Like, this hefty guy right here. And another fantastic figure. There's Sonic in the line, obviously. It would be really weird if Sonic wasn't here. And then there's also Tails, obviously. I guess this is the angry version of him. I grabbed this one because I like how it looks more. But, yeah. Just a really, really great toy line that is such a good example of how, like, Jakks knows how to optimize a product and make it as cheap as possible, but still give you as, like, high quality of a thing as possible. Like, this is a $15 figure of Jim Carrey. Like, yeah, it's nothing insane, but you can tell that's Jim Carrey. And also, Jakks Pacific, they got some cool 2-packs in this line too. Like, these two come in a 2-pack together. You get Super Sonic and Super Shadow, two unique characters that weren't in the original line when these released, at least. Obviously, now we got a single release of Super Sonic, we're getting a single release of Super Shadow, but, like, these two figures came in a 2-pack together, $20. And they light up. Like, this is unrivaled. I'm genuinely so impressed by how good this toy line is. Like, these figures are awesome. And they come together in a pack for $20. And it's like, I think it was like 20, 30 bucks. I think it was like 25 or 30, actually. Now I think about it more. But still, $30, two of these, let's say it's 30. Two of these guys for that much, that's awesome. That's so good. And they look so good. Look at them. Like, this toy line is probably, like, my favorite, like, toy line that's come out in such a long time. They did such a good job on this. I loved it so much that I bought this prototype of the light-up Super Shadow figure. Doesn't actually work because there's no light bulb in him, but yeah, the original factory prototype. I'm just putting this here because I want an excuse to put it in a video. This is a business expense now. This cool prototype Shadow figure. Now, this guy here, he's literally just the final figure, but unpainted, but I like this toy line a lot, so I really wanted to own something, and I saw this guy, and I was like, I have to have it. He was like $200. That's not the worst thing in the world. Also, I think it's like $20. For $20, you can get Shadow's whole motorcycle with Shadow. That's $5 more than this guy. They're charging $5 for this whole motorcycle. Sick. It's like fully detailed too, and it actually rolls and stuff. It's got like a little stopper thing that's retractable. Awesome! I love this toy. Hey, Jakks Pacific, can you do me a favor and, like, replace the 4-inch figures with more of these? You've basically made every character in the 4-inch scale. Can you just, like, start making these now? I want game versions of these. Not that I don't like the movie ones, but, like, dude. This toy line is just like, oh yeah, Shadow, there he goes. Oh yeah. Prototype, probably shouldn't be rough with that one. Oh yeah. So, that was my complete thoughts on Jakks Pacific as a company and their Five Nights at Freddy's toy line if it were to hypothetically exist. Now, like I said before, let me know in the comments if you guys want me to really talk about if any other companies got the FNAF license, because this was really, really fun for me to make. I love being able to talk about figures. It's my favorite thing to do. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and like the video and comment on it and do all that. Thank you to Raycon for sponsoring the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.